What's up, guys? Chris Kane here to give you guys a really quick Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video. Basically, to tell you guys, I hit King of Games last night. It was pretty crazy after I had just decided to try this deck that, well, I'm going to show you the deck real quick, but basically, yeah, there it is, King of Games. For those of you who don't know, for some reason, if you don't play Duel Links, basically King of Games is the very top level of the PvP ladder, and it was pretty crazy. I'm gonna show you the deck real quick and explain to you exactly how this deck works. It's pretty cool actually that I got King Games with this, because this deck is actually really cheap. There's like no ultra rares in it, so it gives a lot of people a chance who don't have to, usually King Games decks I would assume are very expensive or takes a lot of time to build the deck, but I was actually pretty proud. Unfortunately, this is not one of those decks that I built myself, like that I built myself, and I was able to hit King Games at a deck that I'm pretty proud of. I am pretty proud of this deck, although this deck was inspired by a Rex Raptor player that I ended up playing against in ranked at one point. And I was really curious because he ran no traps other than Zing Zang Hu, and he played 3 Typhoon. Typhoon is a common spell card that you got from the reprint box, the gold version 1 box. And it's basically what it does is a quick play spell in which you roll a 6-sided die. If you roll a 2, 3, or a 4, you can destroy 1 spell or trap card. If you roll a 5, you must destroy 2 spell and traps. So, if your opponent set 1 face down card, a spell or trap, and you roll a 5, well, unfortunately, you got to destroy 1 of your own cards. But usually when I played this, it was when they had 2 face down cards. 1 or a 6, you take 1,000 damage. So you're taking a pretty big risk, but I faced like a gladiator beast player that I rolled a 5 against, and I destroyed both their back row, and it was pretty nuts. And then Zing Zang Hu is basically, you just you set it, and then I've had many games in which it was my turn, I set Zing Zang Hu and like summon Sabersaurus, right? Sabersaurus with Dinosaur Kingdom is 2200 attack, so I would just do that. I would face like a Hazy Beast or some other player where all they would do was set 2 face down cards, end their turn, and at the end phase activate Zing Zang Hu, lock down both those spell and traps, and the next turn I'd summon like Hydrogeddon, which is 1900 attack, and together their attack points equal 4100, which ends the game completely. It was pretty crazy, but basically, yeah, you run 3 Typhoon, I got 2 Zing Zang Hu, and I also run 1 Fire Formation. So yeah, I added a few cards in here that I didn't have. Like I think he played like Jirax, but I didn't have. The only Jirax I really have are, well, I have a lot of them, but these 2 I think are one of the best cards you can have in a deck like this. So let's just go down the list. Hydrogeddon, obviously, Dinosaur Kingdom becomes 1900 attack. If you want to play Bastion with the new ability, not a new ability, with his ability Silent as Water. He can get 500 attack instead of just 300. But Dinosaur Kingdom is usually what you want to use. So if he destroys a monster in battle, you can special summon Hydrogeddon from the deck. This helps the deck pretty much end the game a lot quicker. You attack into, like, you have Sabersaurus on the field, right? And then you end your turn, and then it's your turn, you summon Hydrogeddon, you attack over their set monster, you get another Hydrogeddon, boom. Like I said, Sabersaurus and Hydrogeddon together is 4100 damage. Also, I play 1 Elementsaurus. I think this card, the other player didn't have this, but I think this card works really well. Basically, if there's a fire type monster, he gains 500 attack on top of the 300 he gets from Dinosaur Kingdom. And Sabersaurus is an Earth monster, so if he's next to Sabersaurus gets the ability that when it negates the effect of effect monster that is destroyed by battle. So those Maneater Bug, Doom Dog, the Fire King, what was his name? Anyway, all gets negated when he's standing next to Sabersaurus. And then, yeah, direct prayer is fire, so if your opponent attacks into it, that monster gets sent back to the hand, and if the monster was 1800 attack or less, you know, this Dirac will have 1800 defense. So if it survives, it gains defense based on the level of that monster. So it could be like 2200 defense, and then you can summon Sabersaurus, gets 500 attack. But though, funny story, I faced a Gladiator Beast player who I assume thought that he could like crash into my Sabersaurus with Gladiator Beast Liquoria, Liquori, and as soon as he summoned it, Sabersaurus gained 500 attack because he's fire, so it kind of fucked up his plan, so it was pretty funny. So yeah, also one fire formation. A lot of people are attacking this card mainly because when you activate it, your opponent can't chain to it. That's what the card specifically does. You can target a spell or trap, your opponent can't use it, and he can't even activate it on response. And then 2 Super Rush. I might take out an enemy controller for a third one, mainly for the Hazy Flame matchup. But so far this deck was working so well, and I got really lucky against a Hazy Flame player that I guess didn't draw too well. So I'm going to keep this at 2. 3 enemy controller. Enemy controller helped me in the last game I needed to win for King of Games. I'm going to show you that deck, the duel replay later. And then, of course, like I said, 3 Typhoon and 2 Zing-Zang-Hu. So that's pretty much the deck. I feel like this deck is a great opportunity for players who are new to basically get a deck that does relatively well in the meta. Now, let me be very clear, as of right now, it's January 20th. Something that's very, very important is that playing ranked on mobile is way different right now compared to playing on PC. The PC version has not been updated. It is not up to date compared to mobile. Mobile, there was a skill rebalancing, so a lot of skills were altered so that some skills aren't as overpowered and some get a chance to be played. With that said, there's a lot of Bastion players right now, which I'm actually pretty happy to see, and I faced a lot of them too. And it's really cool to see. But the PC version right now, it's still the same meta, and so I was playing this last night on my mobile phone, and it was just, I just kept winning and winning and winning, and some games were easy, some games I had to think a bit. But yeah, this deck is really, really powerful. But like I said, if you want to try out this deck, I encourage you to play it on your mobile phone, and yeah, wait for the PC version for it to update, so that you know you're not gonna see the same shit that you've been seeing. So actually, yeah, let me get to the deck replay real quick. I did save a couple. So yeah, this was against a, well, yes, as soon as I faced the first Weevil as Rex, I was like, great, burn deck. But I think that's what this deck is mainly for. It's for those, I hate facing Temple of the Mind's Eye decks, which is mainly used with DAMNjacquie, with Destiny Draw and stuff like that, and it just stalls you and hits you with a Nebo White Rabbit and all that shit, and you have all these face down cards in the face and the field spell that fucks you up. But this is what it is like to face a burn player, so it was pretty good. So yeah, of course you have the Parasite. I set Zing-Zang-Hu, and then of course summon Sabersaurus, and I set Super Rush because I was like, no, this nothing really to worry about. I don't think I'm facing Phoenix. So there's Amazon. Obviously, I'm thinking that's like a massive morph. So I already have Econ. So there's that. Activate enemy controller, which switches the Amazon to defense. And it's just like I explained earlier. Now, this deck usually plays a lot of back row, or maybe all he had in his hand were Lava Golems or something. Or Doom Dogs, I don't know. Oh yeah, Sphere Karibo. But yeah, these two would have ended the game right away. But it's still 2200 damage is a lot. Yeah, there's the Lava Golem. But he didn't set any face down cards. If you would have set any face down cards, I would have activated Zing-Zang-Hu on my own Super Rush and that face down. But pretty much this player's done. So yeah, we had all the pieces for victory no matter what he did. So that was one of the games. I forget how the duel went with DAMNjacquie. I believe it was really, really quick. But yeah, usually Yama-Yugi means Temple of the Mind's Eye. With Yugi, I like to play a Mausoleum of the Emperor deck, but that deck I still need to really figure out a good synergy with cards or whatever. I try to add like fun cards into it, but when you're playing ranked, you can't really have a fun deck, you know, and expect it to do really, really well because you have all these decks that are so overpowered. But yeah, I set these two and then Sabersaurus. Real simple. And I'm thinking it's Mind's Eye. So yeah, he sets 2 cards, activates Zing Zang Hu right on his end phase. Such a shame. And then yeah, just summon these 2 and that was it. That's right. So as far as I know, this could have been Mind's Eye. Those cards could have been like Massive Morph, Enchanted Javelin, Golden Apples. Typically what they play. Let's see. I believe Teo was Glad's. If not, it might have been like... It might have... Oh, you know what? I think this was the Bamboo player. I was kind of shocked because they did the skill rebalancing, but I guess they didn't... The mobile version didn't update the ban list yet because they're going to add... Yeah, they're going to add Woodland Sprite to the ban list as only having 1. But yeah, I already had Typhoon for any of the equipped spells that they might play, an enemy controller to take the Woodland Sprite. But yeah, I'm trying to remember what happened. Yeah, like it's such a shame to still see this on mobile, but it'll go away eventually. But a lot of decks that you kept seeing were well, Gladiator Beasts still show up, which is fine. This deck kind of plays like Gladiator Beasts a little bit. You know, it's very back row heavy and shit. So yeah, this player got really unlucky and set its Woodland Sprite, if I remember. But if it was anything else, Elementsaurus would negate it. So yeah, that was a Woodland Sprite. So that's a shame. But decks you would usually see are like Cyber Angels, kinda. Ancient Gears were nerfed. Yeah, the castle doesn't come out at the beginning of the duel. It like comes out the beginning of Crawler's turn, I think. Ninjas, I'm really happy that ninjas are not so common anymore because they nerfed the 3-star demotion. So I'm happy about that too. Yeah, Mai was the... Let's see here. Mai was the Hazy Beast player, which misplayed. And I'll show you, because I play Hazy Beasts, and this Mai is playing Aromatherapy, so one of the moves that this player does, I don't understand why they didn't do anything. But yeah, this is... I guess a Hazy Beast player, I don't like having enemy controllers. It is super useless. Unless he summons like a Soul Tiger or a Canine Tar or whatever. So yeah, if I had Zing Zang Hu, that would be great, but I didn't. So I activate Typhoon. Like I said, I'm surprised I didn't save the duel I had with a Glad Beast player because this allowed me to destroy both his face down cards. But I rolled a 1 or a 6, so I lost 1,000 life points. I just do damage. Usually these are like Hazy Glories. So nothing really to worry about when it comes to attacking directly, unless they play like Windstorm or Curse of Anubis. I think another good thing about this deck too is that Sabersaurus being a normal monster makes it so that Curse of Anubis doesn't affect it. So yeah, oh yeah, so yeah, she summoned Sphinx, didn't activate the ability. I guess the top card of her deck were traps or spells, and she didn't have any other monster besides Sphinx, so I got real lucky there. But yeah, I was like, why wouldn't you try to mill out the card that you probably wouldn't help you? So hopefully that was something that she could use. Oh no, okay, yeah, it was a Cerberus, because she just drew it, so that was on top of her deck, so I don't know why she didn't take advantage of that. But yeah, there's the Super Rush coming in very handy there. That's like the only quick play I could really use. So I felt real lucky there. And then I drew another monster. This deck doesn't play that many monsters, so I was very thankful to draw another monster. Or else I kind of would have been screwed. And this player is basically just showing me their face down cards. Whatever. That feels bad, man. Alright, so, and then one more duel I'm going to show you. Again, I wish I had the Glad Beast one, because that was actually pretty good. Actually, no, it was actually really, really good. But, hey, it's just pretty funny, because like I destroyed all their face down cards, and Glad Beasts are nothing without their back row. But this was the duel. Yeah, you can see almost 3 in the morning. This was the duel I needed to win to get King of Games, and I was like, oh god, it's Jaden. What could this is probably Glad's again, right? I was pretty surprised, but it was pretty simple. And this is the duel I think is, this duel right here, I think I'm going to keep Econ at 3 despite the Hazy Flame matchup. So yeah, I'm just going to set you real simple. Enemy controller I set because Super Rush is pointless to set. So yeah, I'm just like, I guess they're a Glad Beast player and they didn't draw really, really well because of the extra deck, right? So I attack directly, and it's the Neos Contact OTK deck. I was like, oh shit. So beginning of Heaven, Earth, he gets to pick 3 cards, but one of them has to be either a Blackluster Soldier or a Guy the Fierce Night Monster, and I randomly pick a card of that, and it gets added to their hand. And all the other cards are sent to the grave. That's the whole point, is to get Neos in the grave. So anyway, despite all that, I still attack directly. He activates Birthright, which gets a Neos out. So I just activate Econ. I was like, holy shit. And right there, that's it. That's why Sabersaurus being 2200 attack is so useful. It just ends games immediately. So I was like, holy shit. So yeah, very, very cool that this deck got me to King of Games for the first time. I was going to duel in this video, but at the same time, like I said, the PC version's not up to date, and I'd rather not face the same shit over and over. But even though I'm just going to be facing players that are in King of Games, once you're in King of Games, you can't rank down. But I'm just so happy that I have it. Let's see here. There was this was a relinquished deck that I beat. Very surprised to see that very, very high up, although it kind of makes sense. Was this the Glad Beast player? No, this was the Dark Magician deck that I beat. This was the Fire deck. Yeah, Mighty as Fire. On the mobile version, this reads when you can be used when your life points are at 3,000 or below, which makes it more viable. So it's actually pretty cool to see that there's a lot more Bastions now. I believe this is the same if not similar. Wait, is it the same guy? I faced the same guy twice somehow. Back to back, that sucks. And yeah, this is the Glad Beast player. Oh, okay, so I must have erased that replay underneath that. But anyway, like I said, for those of you who would like to try to climb up the ladder, this is a very cheap deck for you to use. Like I said, the Typhoons are obtained by buying the gold box, which should be going away pretty soon. Very easy to get. But I just wanted to share this video real quick. I think it's great to see a deck like this that's very, very cheap to make it all the way to the top. It gives newer players a start, you know. But yeah, the Typhoons are... I mean, they're going to be... I mean, all these cards that we don't have yet are all going to be... Yeah, right here. It's all going to be a part of a newer box that's coming out later in case you missed this box. But yeah, it's a normal card, and it's really, really fun to use. It sucks when you take damage, but it was worth it. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.